Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina was one of President Trump's biggest critics, and now he might be the Trump whisperer. In fact, he voted for Evan McMullin, we understand, when all was said and done. But at the end of 2017, he's become an unexpected ally and confidant to President Trump by almost all accounts. So what does Senator Graham think about the Trump administration's first year, Robert Mueller's ongoing probe, and the prospects for 2018, and why January might be as big as December for Congress? Senator, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
That's a pretty good lead-in. Thanks a bunch.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, it's been just fascinating to see the way you guys went at it, and now you have this very honest, upfront, mutual relationship and respect for each other, in my humble opinion. And Senator, why do you believe that something will get done with immigration? What could you tell the people right now that might give them a sense of optimism heading into the new year?
Well, I think the president outlined what the deal will look like. About 80% of the American people want these DREAM Act kids to have a good life. They don't want to kick them out of the country because they got no place else to go. They've been here since they're pretty small kids. 80% of the people would like to see the border secured with a wall component. You need a wall on the border, not the entire border. Border security with a wall makes sense. Most Americans would like to get away from chain migration. So there's a deal to be had. And the only reason we won't get a deal is because people are so stubborn they can't get to yes. I think we'll get to yes.
Well, I tell you what, I read Senator Schumer's Twitter feed, and he says, listen, DACA is with the budget. And we're going to pass the budget with DACA, nothing to do with border security, and we're not going to link it to the wall, so therefore government doesn't get funded. You think that's not reality? There's something going on behind the scenes that makes you feel as though we're past that rhetoric. What is it?
Yeah, I'm deeply involved with working with Democrats. I'm one of the authors of the DREAM Act with Senator Durbin. I think most Americans believe that not only should these kids have a second chance on life here, that we do need to secure our border. So this idea that we're only going to do the DREAM Act and nothing else is just all political theater. We have to do more than the DREAM Act, and we will.
But you want to address chain migration, you want to address the lottery system, you want to get the border security done, and you want to get the DREAM thing done. So do you believe they're all going to be linked? Because Mitch McConnell says if you guys work it out, and you're working in a bipartisan way right now behind the scenes, and you put it to him, he's going to put it to a vote. And what's significant is he's going to say, I'll pass it even if majority of Republicans don't go for it. That's what he means when he says, I'll put it to a vote, right?
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty hard to go back home and say that you voted against a secure border with a wall component. The president's not saying a 2,200-mile wall, but there are places we need a wall, and he's going to get his wall and border security because that's what he ran on. Democrats have been working with Republicans like myself for a decade now, try to find a way to fix the DREAM Act, their problem. That needs to be done. Most people don't like chain migration. The lottery system is just the dumbest way in the world to give out visas. So everything comes together to get this package.
All right. And you believe January?
I hope so, sooner rather than later. Here's what I'd like to be able to do. I'd like the president to address the nation in the State of the Union and say, I've increased defense spending because it had to be increased. Our military suffered too long, and I fixed it. We got a border secured with a wall where it makes sense. The DREAM Act kids have a better life, and we're moving away from a stupid lottery system to a merit-based immigration system. I'd like for the president to be able to say that in January. I think that's possible.
Only if Dick Durbin says the same thing, to be honest, even if you might not agree with him. If he can't, if he's not nodding somewhere in Illinois, we're not going to get anywhere, and we've been down that road before. Senator, I want to move to one of President Trump's 101 tweets in the last couple of days. And one of them said, in his interview with the New York Times, which he gave without any aides around in an impromptu fashion at the grill, at his grill in Florida, he said, I think Robert Mueller will do a fair job, an honest job. He's confident he'll do a good job on this investigation. From a legal perspective and with your legal background, I know that makes you happy because to criticize Robert Mueller is not a good thing to do necessarily legally. But do you believe that he's pursuing this thing in an honest fashion from what you know, not what you hope, but what you know? Yeah,
I believe he is. I believe he's the right guy to have been chosen. He's going to give an analysis of what happened in a fair-minded way. But he's not looking at the dossier. That's not part of his charter. And I've spent some time in the last couple of days, after a lot of fighting with the Department of Justice, to get the background on the dossier. And here's what I can tell your viewers. I'm very disturbed about what the Department of Justice did with this dossier, and we need a special counsel to look into that, because that's not in Mueller's charter. And what I saw and what I've gathered in the last couple of days bothers me a lot, and I'd like somebody outside DOJ to look into how this dossier was handled and what they did with it.
Wait a second. So you found out something you did not know, and you were already disturbed by it. And is it about what's in the contents of it, or how it was used for this investigation and unmasking possible Trump officials?
I've been a lawyer most of my life, a prosecutor and a defense attorney. And the one thing I can say, every prosecutor has a duty to the court to disclose things that are relevant to the request. So anytime a document is used to go to court for legal reasons, I think the Department of Justice owes it to the court to be up and up about exactly what this document is about, who paid for it, who's involved, what their motives might be. And I can just say this, after having looked at the history of the dossier and how it was used by the Department of Justice, I'm really very concerned, and this cannot be the new normal.
Wow. And, Senator, I'm over time, but name the company in South Carolina that's responding to the tax reform and how.
Neuropron is a pharmaceutical company. They gave a 5% wage increase to all their employees, specifically because of the tax cut. The average person makes $70,000 a year. 5% pay raise is real money. When you look at the tax cut plus the pay raise plus the increase in the 401k plan, this has been a very good presidency for people who are working out there. President Trump's tax cut is going to help working people. His policies have generated a lot of economic growth in 401k plans, and employers are sharing the profits of the tax cut with their employees, which makes me very happy.
Senator, thanks so much. Senator Lindsey Graham, have a great new year. I'll talk to you early and often in 2018. Thank you.
Thank you.
And he comes to us from Clemson.